Phil Allen describes himself as a man who's had 68 jobs, but many others know him as Phil from Mount Airy. The former king of Philadelphia's sports talk radio callers now hosts two shows on The Fanatic on 97.5 on the weekends. But he started out like many others, as a listener.
I was coming home from Eagles training camp. It was like 1988 or 89, somewhere in there. And I was listening to Howard Eskin. And something motivated me to dial. I had a car phone, and that was kind of fly back then. You know, everybody didn't have cell phones, but I had a car phone. And I called Howard Eskin, and he told me I was an idiot, and I was a dope, and I should never call a sports radio station again. I had jobs that involved driving, and I would be in the car all the time. And at one point, I commuted to New York for 6 years. So to kill that time, I would listen to WIP, and then when I would lose their range, I would pick up WFAN out of Manhattan, and I would ride with them. And in between, I would listen to games, you know, wherever you could pick up radio. So that's where I really became interested in sports talk radio. At first, I would call like once a week, and then it got like obsessive. I don't know when it crossed into obsessive, but it began to be fun. And I would do voices and, like, you know, plan calls and think about what I was going to say and stuff. And that was around the time where I started thinking, wow, I can do this too.
After his first call to Howard Eskin at WIP, Allen didn't regularly listen to sports radio again until 1997 and became a frequent caller in 2003. Then, in 2006, he first began to get into the business.
Anthony Gargano and Mike Missinelli would invite me to their remotes to do voices and characters. I had all these different characters I would make up, like the Black Charlie Manuel, stuff like that. It got to the point where people would call in and they would say, yo, dude should have his own show. And you hear that and you hear it. And the fact that there were no black hosts here. Anthony called me and said, the general manager at WIP wanted me to come in and interview, to do a show. So I go to the interview with the general manager. His name was Andy Lee. And it goes really well. And he goes, would you like to start as a solo? Would you want to have a co-host? And I'm like, I guess I should have somebody with me. I've never done this before. And he shakes my hand. He goes, you're hired. He gets fired 2 days later. I never started. And then a couple years later, they started The Fanatic. And Mike went over there and kind of opened the door for me to get there.
Allen now hosts the Eagles postgame show and his own show on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 to 12 at night, as well as filling in anywhere else he's needed during the week. The Saturday show is generally contemporary and what's hot at the moment, as well as whatever Phil wants to mix in to generate conversation. The Sunday night show has become sort of a wrap-up of the week, discussing the big moments and what's happened.
They're designed to be fun, though. That's what my show is about. My show is about having fun and not trying to be a freaking know-it-all, but just engage with people, you know, and go back and forth and argue. I want to have a good fight every Saturday or Sunday. I want to fight with somebody on the phone. That's the idea. Just because I have a microphone doesn't make me smarter than you. It doesn't mean I know more about the sport than you do. I'm just lucky enough to have the fucking mic. And every now and then on the show, you know, for fun, I'll say, dude, you know nothing. You're a total dope. But those same guys will call back because they know that they're safe. I'm not trying to crush anybody. My target is to make people talk to their radio. My conversation is made as if you're sitting with me. I want you to be like, Phil, you're crazy. No, that's wrong. You know, have an answer. I don't want you to sit there listening. I want you to feel like we're together in the car and you can talk back to your radio because eventually you'll pick up the phone. You know, you hear people talk about the death of AM radio and the death of radio and it's all going internet and satellite. And I think that's bull. Sports radio is not going anywhere because there's always a guy in the car with his wife being dragged around shopping on a Saturday. And he's not getting out at all those stops. He'll sit in the car and listen to us.
Although Allen's dream job would be to call Phillies games, he's not complaining about his current situation. After dropping out of the 10th grade and jobs like delivering water, beer, selling real estate, and timeshares, Allen is thankful for what he has.
Play-by-play was always what I wanted to do. But you know, life detours you and different things happen. But I always thought that would be the dream job. I really feel like I got lucky. You never know how you get here, but don't stop trying to get there.